Good morning.
Morning.
Here we go again.
You ready?
Hold on just a second. Okay, now I'm ready.
Okay.
It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out how we can get an episode out of this.
You mean like the laws of attraction?
Exactly. Let's get out of here.
Take a deep breath and strap in
Chest bump.
It's not happening.
for some sexy science.
How you doing?
To find out what turns us on.
Good and sweaty.
Sweat, blondes, money, and more.
Whoa.
Hey, eyes up here, huh?
The team is turning up the heat.
I can't stop looking at him.
Welcome to the Mythbusters
Hello, angels.
Laws of Attraction Special. Who are the Mythbusters? Adam Savage
I don't know anything about no pig.
and Jamie Hyneman.
What could go wrong?
Between them, more than 30 years of special effects experience. Together with Tori Belleci,
Let's top this car up!
Brett Imahara,
Nothing just touched me!
and Carrie Byron.
Put your pants back on. We got work to do.
They don't just tell the myths, they put them to the test. What is the science of attraction?
Is this as disturbing as I think it is?
The chemistry of sexual chemistry.
Feel kind of sexy.
What tickles our fancy and what fancies make us tick.
They were definitely firmer at 8,000 feet, but not by much.
And when it comes to desire, do we really conform to cliché?
James, I'm frightened.
These age-old questions are about to be asked and answered. But what's first?
This is a good one. Apparently, people get dumber in the presence of the opposite sex.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, come on. Haven't you ever been tongue-tied in the presence of a lovely lass?
No. Might be a good idea for you two to take. I think it might be a good idea for you two to actually take the test before you. How are we going to test somebody getting dumber?
Yeah, right. That is the trickiest part of this to me because we need a test that measures cognitive ability, but it also needs to be able to measure the deterioration of cognitive ability. And I'm not even sure how that would work.
Okay, well, why don't you deal with the test design? And since we're going to need to bring a bunch of people in, I'll design the test space.
Sounds perfect. Let's go.
So to find out if this well-worn cliché is in fact or fiction, Adam has researched a method to measure the effect attraction has on our gray matter.
It is a brain game, and you're going to help me play it. You ready? Here's what's going to happen. I'm going to flash a word up on the screen, and you're going to tell me what color that word is, not what color it says. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. What color is that word? What color? What color? Call it out. Louder. Okay, did you feel your brain pause each time a card showed up? That pause that your brain did is your brain attempting to task switch between the reading of the word and the parsing of its actual color. 3, 2, 1, go. That pause is also called the Stroop effect, and apparently it's very, very difficult to get really good at it. Orange, orange. Which makes it the ideal test for our needs for this myth. Green, 58 seconds. Blue,
Yep, repeatedly taking the test
yellow, brown, 55 seconds.
results in a constant time,
Red, brown,
a time that accurately reflects speed of cognition.
54.5 seconds.
So each volunteer will establish a baseline and then, in the presence of a member of the opposite sex, retake and see if they get dumber.
56 seconds.
Meanwhile, Jamie has the perfect location in mind.
Welcome to the inside of my brain. Actually, It's a lot darker and scarier in there. Anyway, what this is a commercial film stage, and it's the kind of place that Adam and I have spent decades filming commercials and movies and things in.
Oh. Stands by itself. What could possibly go wrong?
And as such, it's the ideal space for us to build our set for laws of attraction in.
Ow!
The experimental space itself
Whoops.
is purposefully sparse.
All the comforts of home, if home is a interrogation room.
A room with a computer station rigged for some secret squirrel observation.
Awesome.
We'll be monitoring the testing from behind this two-way mirror with all these cameras. But I don't know why I'm whispering, because
We'll be watching the whole experiment via a remote camera feed. Here, we're far from the experimental space, and we can totally talk normally. Oh. You have to stop doing that.
Now, what about the delectable distractions? Meet cute couple Allie and Sean.
Remember, this whole story hinges on a person's cognitive ability when they are around the opposite gender versus around the same gender. So we've hired a pair of actors to be present in this room while the tests are being taken.
Cool.
Sounds good.
Let's do it.
So first up, the baseline.
Hey, how you doing?
Following 3 minutes of small talk,
Are you originally from San Jose?
10 volunteers will take the test twice,
Okay, we're ready to start the test.
with an actor of the same sex in the room.
Let's go.
Brown, green, yellow, pink. Can't get over how fast he is. Green, red, blue, brown. One of those young, fresh brains.
it should be hysterical to see that same kid with Allie in there, and he's like, great.
I'm fascinated.
And so Adam and Jamie settle in,
Green, yellow, pink.
noting numbers and adding averages for the guys
Brown, yellow, green.
That is a big red beard.
You could hide a pistol in there.
and then the girls.
Hi. How are you? Good. You just grab a seat right there.
Yellow, blue, brown, blue, green.
I'd like to take a little break in the testing right now to call out a phenomenon. This happens when one of our test subjects get thrown by one and they do this. They go, blue.
Black.
Literally, they blink their eyes, shake their head, and open their eyes again.
Brown,
Green. Red.
pink, yellow,
I dub this reset face.
blue, brown, yellow.
With that, the control is complete. And here are the numbers to beat. So, will our attractive actors distract and thus subtract from our testees' times?
All right, let's bring in the first test subject for Sean.
Yep, it's time to heat up the action.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. I'm Sean.
Amy, nice to meet you.
Amy.
With Sean weaving his magic,
Actually doing it, yeah.
will the women waver?
I don't know if it's just me, but she seems like she's maintaining an awful lot of eye contact.
He's got a little bit of Italian stallion going on.
Yeah.
But despite Sean's obvious allure, our first female is, well, not phased at all.
She averaged 54 seconds the first time. If anything, she was a little faster though.
Thank you.
Almost 10 seconds faster.
Where are you from?
And it seems, contrary to the cliche,
Yellow,
as each new time is logged and noted,
green.
She averaged 39 seconds in her first test with Allie and 37.5 in her second test with Sean.
that overall, a member of the opposite sex
How are you?
Good, hi.
does not affect women's cognitive ability.
Pink, green.
They respond to Sean, they're just not distracted. A result that's borne out in the numbers. As far as women are concerned, this cliche is clearly busted. But the guys are still to come.
He's looking at his shoes.
Will Allie's feminine charms cause confusion? Up next, Cary, Grant, and Tori put the bust into Mythbusters.
All right, so laws of attraction, what have we got?
Now, this myth comes from the service industry. They say that if a woman can augment her female profile, she can significantly increase the amount of gratuity she receives.
You mean bigger breasts equals bigger tips?
Yes.
I can't wait to see that. For science.
Yep, it's an age-old service industry adage. When it comes to top tips, are big breasts really best? Or is this simply a misogynistic misnomer?
All right, I think it's clear for this plan. I'll be the augmented, since you two would make some pretty scary chicks.
Did you see me as Sandra Bullock in the Speed episode?
Yes, I did.
All right, fair enough. We're gonna need a place where you can get a lot of tips on a daily basis, like a coffee shop.
And we're gonna have to cover a variety of different sizes. Let's do small, medium, and huge. And we're gonna have to give you some kind of a disguise so people don't know what we're doing.
All right, so I'll work the same shift at the cafe every single day, each day with a different breast size, and we'll see how the tips average out.
I like it. Very Mission Impossible.
I think we got some boob shopping to do.
For science.
So it's off to the boob shop.
Let's get to the boobs.
Carrie and her more than willing assistant go.
To test the myth that men will give a bigger gratuity for women with bigger boobs,
We're hunting for boobs.
I've come to the Piedmont Boutique in the famous Haight-Ashbury district of San Francisco. Hi.
Hi. What are we looking for?
Boobs.
They've come to the right place. With a great range in prosthetic augmentation,
I think they look great. Chest bump.
It's not happening.
it's not long before Carrie and Co.
Look at me in the eyes. Stop looking at my boobs.
I have bigger ones.
are ready for experimental action.
Just the place?
Yeah. To test the myth, we're here at Cafe Roma. Now, it's not just a regular cafe, it's an actual roasting house. And it's in the middle of San Francisco, which is perfect because we're gonna have a great sample size for this experiment. Now, while Carrie is working the counter, Grant and I will be watching the whole thing play out through this elaborate surveillance system. I got cameras all over the place. I got one there. I got one above Carrie. I got one here.
Tip cam.
I even have one over here. All these cameras will lead back here to these monitors so Grant and I can watch the whole thing in action. It's like a police stakeout. Hey, there's Carrie.
So I don't get recognized. I'm gonna change my appearance slightly. Now, I'll be working the same shift every day. I'll be wearing the same clothes every day. I'll be wearing the same wig and contacts every day. The only thing that's gonna change is my breast size.
She's simply irrebaristable.
Wow!
You look great.
Unchanged in the bus department, Carrie's ready for her first shift. But how are they going to keep score?
So this is our super secret stealth tip jar.
All right, Carrie is in place.
Here's how it works. When we see that a man has put a tip in the jar, we'll move the lever one way, drops it into one compartment. When a woman puts a tip in, you drop it the other way so that they're held separate. We're gonna count out the first 80 men. Tip number 1 is in the jar. At the end of that period, we'll take the money from the men only, count it up, and that will be our average tip.
An average to compare with Carrie's earnings when she has an altered cup size.
She's doing great.
Anything else for you?
And by ensuring she gives the same level of service every day, the only variable will be her breasts.
25 cents a change.
I'll give her one thing. She is amazing at customer service.
Thank you. Out of 100.
Look at him. He's looking
He's smiling.
One thing's for sure, the male customers are enjoying her natural charms.
Thank you, sir.
Very much.
Make that gold.
All the men are flirting with her.
He's like, I'm in no hurry.
Aw, thank you.
However, Carrie understands the basics of the service industry.
Yeah.
The clue's in the title.
Thank you. 170.
Fundamentally, it's about good service,
Okay, anything else for you?
hard work,
Large fat, sugar-free vanilla latte.
and a personal connection.
I used to work in a cafe in college, and I totally forgot the energy level it takes to constantly interact with the public. I am exhausted. They work hard.
Man, I always thought a stakeout would be a lot more exciting than this.
But the nicer you are and the friendlier you are to people, it makes them tip more. It's definitely an attitude situation.
Carrie's clearly nailing her role, and her disguise
Hey, we know him.
is working spectacularly well.
We know that police officer, and he does not recognize Carrie right now.
He does not recognize her.
But
Carrie Byron.
the bottom line is a food baseline.
A good day.
And with the male tips separated, totaled, and tallied, what have we got?
All right, you made $72.
Woohoo!
80 customers, that's 90 cents per customer. Good job. Now that we have a good baseline, it's time to manipulate the size of her breasts. My feeling is, I think bigger we go, the bigger the tips are gonna be.
Now understand that this is science. This is an anthropological survey on human behavior. This is psychology. But all I can think as we're doing this is how weird it is that Tori and Grant are talking about my boobs. It's like your brother seeing you naked or something. Ugh. Ugh.
Adam and Jamie are pulling strings.
Blue, yellow, red.
I love watching this remotely. It feels like we're actual scientists.
And delving deep into human behavior. And they have one final law of attraction question. When there's a woman around, do men really get dumber?
Look, I'm a man. I have only one vantage point on this subject, and it's decidedly anecdotal, but I think it's a real effect, and I think we'll be able to see it. It might have even happened to me once or twice in my life.
So in comes our alluring distraction, and in comes our first guy.
Hi. How's it going?
Good.
Good. Just grab a seat right there, please.
After Allie's attentions,
Have you ever done any experiments like this before?
Sort of. When I was in elementary school.
will his mind wander?
Go ahead and conduct the test.
Blue. Pink.
His first round average was 58 seconds, and when the times are tallied,
Test number 1, 1 minute, 8.
an average of 65 seconds means he was slower by 12%, meaning the first result is very promising.
Hi. Good, how are you?
And one supported in theory by evolutionary psychologists.
Are you from San Francisco?
No, Sacramento.
Oh, okay.
Men in a state of reproductive focus are supposedly cognitively impaired.
2, 1.
Pink, yellow, brown.
Quite literally, their brains are on other things.
Blue, brown. Green.
But for test taker 2, when the timer starts, his discomfort evaporates, and he beats his first round average by 20%. And as the remaining volunteers are wheeled through,
He was faster.
Yeah.
That's far out.
the first slower test seems to be the exception.
Maybe Allie actually is exciting people rather than, distracting them.
And not the rule.
Green.
But there is an overall behavioral pattern.
The guys were noticeably more on edge in the presence of our attractive female proctor. They were checking out their feet, they're looking at the corners of the room, they wouldn't make direct eye contact with her, and yet they were sneaking furtive glances in her direction. And that makes me think that that kind of behavior might just be where this myth came from.
One thing's for sure,
No difference.
this myth is on its way to the busted bin.
Blue.
All right, that's all I need.
Well, the results are in. Now, let me remind you that if the myth was true, we would see a decrease in performance in our test subjects when they took the test in the presence of a proctor of the opposite gender. Now, get this. Not only did we not see a decrease in performance, we actually saw a mild improvement.
Jamie, why don't you tell these people our conclusion?
Well, I wasn't expecting to see much from the women, and we didn't, but I was all prepared for the men to become blithering idiots. After all, there were studies done that indicate that that is the case.
However, based on the test constructed here with our methodology, which I feel pretty good about,
We didn't see anything.
nope, the myth is busted.
I still think we should have put her in a bikini.
There you go, thinking out loud again.
Carrie, Grant, and Tori are whipping up a controversial storm in a D cup and focusing on the classic allure of the cleavage.
I'm back to work my shift at the coffee shop. Now we're testing the myth that you get more tips when you have bigger breasts.
You made $72.
So I'm going with the smaller version today to see if maybe I get tipped less.
Now, bear in mind that Carrie looks exactly the same, except that her bust is taped down so that she's 2 cup sizes smaller. What's my prediction? Actually, I think it might make a difference, and it's gonna be a little bit less.
A large coffee.
It's a busy morning today.
Thank you, sir.
Very much.
When Carrie was in her normal state, she had 80 male customers, and she was averaging 90 cents per customer.
Thank you.
Oh,
there you go.
We got a tipper. Now she's flattened her chest. Now, if there's any truth to this myth, we should see a decrease in the average tip. Whoa! That dude just dropped a huge tip.
Wow.
Look at Carrie's big old smile.
With Carrie once again a whirlwind at the coffee counter,
Thank you.
she turns on the charm and gives it everything she's got.
Working hard for the science.
Very much.
So hard for the science.
Until she meets the 80 guy quota.
She looks like she needs a break.
Yeah.
Question is, does what's up top affect the bottom line?
Nice work, Carrie. You did great out there.
71, 72.
We got the exact same amount of tips.
What? I did all of that and we got the same result?
She made exactly the same amount of money as when she had her regular chest size. I mean, within $1, which is statistically identical. This myth is on the road to being busted.
On the road, but not over the line, because there's one last breast test to go. Today is Triple D Day.
Today, Carrie is sporting a Triple D bra size. Is she gonna get bigger tips? We're about to find out. Whoa, you feel that? I think she's coming.
I'm very curious to see if my current ginormous breast size is gonna have any impact on my tips. If the walk over here is any indication, gentlemen are noticing. That much is clear. Whether that makes them less stingy with the tip jar, we'll see. What's up?
After an eyeful,
Hey, eyes up here, huh?
Grant, for one, is optimistic.
I think that she'll have an easier time connecting with people, and they'll be more interested in talking to her. And I think that this just might make the difference.
He's just staring at the boobs.
He's thinking really hard about something. And tipped. I guess her milkshake brings all the boys to the yard.
Now, before you cry foul, here's Grant with some science.
All right, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, why are you guys doing this? This is absolutely ridiculous.
Like, he keeps looking down.
But as it turns out, there are some good reasons why this might work.
Thank you.
He tipped.
All right, cool. Biologically speaking, the instinct is to associate larger breast size with nurturing and fertility.
Thank you.
They're just happy guys.
Oh my God. They tipped.
Which will allow people to possibly connect with her more.
And we got a tip out of him.
Wait.
Oh, he put in $2.
What? $2, people.
Thank you.
Which could lead to bigger tips.
Is $1 for both of you.
Thank you.
In its broadest, most reductive form,
Oh my God, look at them. They're like trying not to look, but they can't help it. It's like their monkey brain's taking over.
evolutionary theory suggests that a full cleavage is a visual indication of reproductive potential.
Thanks.
He's still checking her out. It's instinct.
And in a positive feedback loop, men who find that trait attractive are more likely to be reproductively successful.
I think he forgot his drink.
But that's the theory.
Look, did you see that?
Yep,
The knowing bro look.
yep. They both know what they're thinking about.
how do the numbers
See how much we got here.
stack up in reality?
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's $98. That's way more than yesterday.
A statistically significant 30% more, meaning this myth is controversially but firmly concluded.
So it turns out the size of your breast does have an effect on the size of your tips. Now, Carrie's male customers were tipping about 90 cents per customer. But when Carrie put on her big boobs, the average tip increased to $1.23. That's significant.
Woo! These things are earners.
Cool. I can't stop looking at them.
The boobs may have bamboozled Balachi, but he and his fellow males were not the only ones.
The results from this experiment were really interesting. Now, men gave 30% more in tips with the big boob size. But more interesting to me is that women gave 40% more. I think this must be primal. Bigger boobs just yield more satisfaction.
Hot on the laws of attraction trail, what's up next?
Well, I've always been dubious about the claims of these pheromone sprays that are supposed to make one irresistible to members of the opposite sex.
Why do you need a spray for that?
Well, look, not everyone expresses all their emotions through their scent like you do, Jamie. There are some people that want some extra help, and these products apparently fill that void.
Sounds like something we should test.
That's exactly what I thought.
Pheromones are airborne molecules that elicit a reaction in members of the same species. The most potent known to science are aphrodisiacs found in the saliva of male boars. But although a human sex pheromone has yet to be definitively discovered, the internet offers a plethora of canned chemistry that will make you irresistible. Or will it? To find out,
Awesome.
Adam has built a carousel of smell. And here's how it'll make sense of supposedly sexy scents.
I present to the world my 10-chamber double-blind T-shirt smelling device. 10 chambers, each sealed and isolated against the smells of the outside world. Each one will contain a T-shirt. Some we've worked out in, some from the store, some with pheromones sprayed on them. Each one will also be bathed in a bath of food-grade nitrogen to keep the smell fresh and to keep our sweat from going rancid. The contestant will simply push a yellow button, smells the scent that comes out of the tube, pick their favorite of the 10, put a poker chip in that box, and go on their merry way. At the end of the test, we count up the votes and declare a winner.
And so it's on to location, where Adam and Jamie
Oh, look at that.
load up the love truck with their whiff wheel. And we'll ask 50 ladies to pick their favorite fragranced T-shirt.
All right, I'm ready. These pheromones may work on their own, or they may only work in concert with human sweat. Hopefully, this experience on the treadmill will be better than my last experience on the treadmill. Oh! Jamie and I are going to walk on the treadmill long enough to generate a bunch of sweat onto a T-shirt. Get this shirt good and sweaty. And put it into our machine. Then we're going to do it again. Get a T-shirt good and sweaty and spray pheromones on it. This is the leading brand of male pheromone spray to see if that makes a difference. All of that is going to be smelled by our volunteers.
With the eau de sauvage and pheromone combo locked and loaded,
So you look, it's up to 6 miles an hour.
a hot Hyneman
Get some good Hoosier sweat on there.
does exactly the same. That's 4 filled and sealed. What about the remaining 6?
A T-shirt straight out of the package that we spray with pheromones.
And finally,
Now it's time for our real controls. T-shirts fresh out of the bag with nothing on them, no sweat, no pheromones, no nothing.
with the 10 T-shirt choices in their numbered chambers, it's time to wheel in the unsuspecting, nose-wielding women.
Go down the path and hang a right.
With our vessels pressurized, the shirts loaded, and our volunteers standing by, it's time to start conducting this test. I'm going to ask you to smell 10 T-shirts for me. My prediction is that we're not going to find anything. You're going to reach down and pull this up to your nose. and push the button and smell what comes out. I think that the whole pheromone thing, the whole industry, is snake oil and malarkey. Whichever one is your favorite, take a poker chip and put it in that box. So I agree, I am starting this test with a little bit of bias.
Right.
Sounds good?
Sounds good.
All right. But I think we're gonna see a relatively random distribution around this ring, except for people who specifically don't like the smell of me or Jamie sweating.
Adam is clearly not convinced that controversial canned chemistry has any scientific merit.
That's 10. Which one do you think you prefer the most?
So he's not surprised by the early spread of reactions.
I think I like number 1 the best.
That's some data for us. Thank you so much for helping us out. Well, we're about a dozen people in so far.
I like number 10.
Number 10. Excellent. I have to say, I'm not noticing any pattern to what they're preferring.
Probably number 1.
Number 1. Okay. It's all over the map. But we'll wait till we count the data when we're all done.
But as the test progresses,
next!
An interesting choice.
Number 8.
For interesting reasons.
8.
What was it about it?
I don't know, it just smelled soothing.
Very interesting reasons.
I picked number 8, basically because it smelled a lot sugary.
Significantly recurs.
8, because it smelled like my boyfriend.
Adam's sweat, combined with the pheromone, is apparently an okay bouquet.
Next!
However, for some,
I picked 4 because it didn't really smell like anything. They were kind of like strong and awkward.
the pheromone-sprayed samples
The one I can taste.
are the most repulsive.
I picked 6. It was the least unpleasant smell.
Next.
Dude, that's it. That's 50. We're done.
Well, I guess it's time to go count some chips then, huh?
Let's go do it.
Yep, with all 50 smellers having sniffed the whiffs, here's how it breaks down. And there's one figure that reeks off the page.
So, you crunch the numbers. What do they say?
Yes, the results are in, and I have to say they're kind of weird.
Don't get overly technical on me. Weird how?
The test subjects showed no particular preference for the pheromones, except for in the case of one shirt.
Which shirt?
That would be your sweaty, pheromone-laced shirt. 38%.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah, well, don't let it go to your head, because a large number of people were strongly repelled by that very same shirt. And then on top of that, many chose the control shirts just because they were the least offensive.
I guess that what we can say is that there is some effect for some people, but as far as the manufacturer's claims that these sprays will make you irresistible to women, this is totally busted, especially when you factor in my irresistibility.
Yeah, it's busted.
Wait, what's busted? My irresistibility or the pheromones?
I don't know, take your pick.
Up next, Loveonomics. Does wealth really woo women?
All right, so from one offensive cliche to another, women are attracted to men with money.
All right, how are we gonna test this?
All right, so let's get a group of women and ask them to rate a man's attractiveness, but the only identifiers we give them are name and occupation.
That's great. And then we'll show the exact same pictures to another group of women, but this time changing the men's occupations with higher salaries and see if that increases their allure.
I like it.
On the surface, the myth sounds offensive, but the stereotype and science suggests that on some level, women look for a mate who's successful.
What's your name?
Question is, in a modern, enlightened society, do women really still judge potential partners as providers? Consciously or otherwise, does money matter? Well, the team is all spruced up to find out.
So to test our laws of attraction myth that women are more attracted to wealthy men, we've come to the Roxy Theater in San Francisco, California.
Welcome to the Mythbusters Laws of Attraction Experiment.
And we're gonna show 2 sets of 50 women, 12 pictures of various men, and ask them to rate the men on their attractiveness on a scale of 1 to 10.
10 being the highest score for super duper hot.
Now, each of these photos will have a name, an occupation, and where the person lives. And this is all we're gonna give the women in order for them to judge their attractiveness.
And remember, it's for science.
Both sets of slides will be exactly the same, but for the second group of women, we're going to take half the men and change their identifiers. We're going to give them more lucrative careers. Let's begin our experiment. Now, for this myth to be confirmed, their scores should go up. All right, let's see the first slide.
So we are intentionally staying away from sexier jobs for this experiment.
This is Matt. He's a barista from San Francisco, California.
But we are picking jobs that tend to have higher salaries. For example, here, Martin, in his first round, he's gonna be in retail.
This is Martin. Customer service retail in Oakland, California.
But in the second round, he's gonna be a vascular surgeon. Let's see how the women respond to that.
Let's bring on the next slide.
Michael, a dental assistant from South San Francisco, California. These reactions are killing me. This is Jeremy. He's that cafe manager from How you feel about this?
Oh, it's getting ugly. These girls are brutal. They're not holding anything back.
I'm glad we're not in these slides.
And with the brutal beauty contest concluded, and before the scores are tallied,
Just so you know what a 10 looks like, I've got 2 examples right here.
Oh, get out of here.
Carrie's curious to find out who found who attractive and why.
I gave him a 7. He's very, very attractive. I love his smile. I love his eyes. And he takes care of himself.
What's clear is that many factors go into each score.
He looks a little bit like my husband.
And the mix of influences differs on an individual basis. There's straight-up looks,
I absolutely love his eyes, and his hair just has that like windblown look.
grooming,
I just think it's not that bad. I mean, if he got a haircut.
age,
Like, I'm 18, so he's way older than me.
and entire imagined personalities.
He seems pretty grounded. He doesn't seem too into himself, but he doesn't seem careless as well.
How can you get that from this picture? I'm just curious.
But the key question in round 1 is,
What was the score you gave him?
I gave him a 4.
And how come?
did a perceived lack of affluence influence the scoring?
I just think he's too old to have a retail job. He's a handsome guy, but it definitely lowers any attractiveness.
And for some women and some job titles, it clearly did.
I would like to date someone that has more drive and determination to get farther than an entry-level position, and frankly, he can't afford to support himself.
Yep, for some women, finance is a factor, a significant factor.
This was interesting. It's a very lively crowd, and they had some very strong opinions.
All right, so you gave Martin a 2. How come?
I believe I even heard the phrase,
"That is a job of a man-child."
I think that when you get a bunch of women together, they get real honest.
It does help. He has a good job, and I'm going to need a lot of money to fix it.
It'll be interesting to see how this pans out.
Yep, when all the numbers are in, will this anecdotal commentary be statistically quantifiable?
Well, thank you guys for participating in our Laws of Attraction Mythbusters experiment.
Or is it just part of the mix and, as a cliche, over-exaggerated?
In round 1, these women gave this group of men an average score of 56 out of a possible 120. But now in round 2, we're going to increase the salaries of some of the men. Now, if there's some truth to this myth, we should see an increase in the average score.
With 4 attraction laws tackled, are there any more?
I know. How about women prefer guys with big mustaches?
I haven't heard that one.
I'm pretty sure it's a thing.
I don't think so, man.
Oh. How about gentlemen prefer blondes?
That is a good one. Let's totally test that. But wait, how do we test that?
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, if we take a blonde and a brunette and we ask some random people who they like better, how do we accommodate for the fact that they have totally different personalities?
Wigs.
Yeah.
Ever since the eponymous Monroe movie, the concept that blondes get the boys has been a cultural cliche.
I'll tell you more about it in the morning.
Question is this follicular fable fact or fiction?
So how do you want to get wiggy with this one?
Well, I think it's pretty simple. We set up something like a speed dating scenario so that the men can express their preference. but we'll have wigs of different colors, which will swap out systematically throughout the test, thus eliminating any bias for personality.
That sounds perfect. Let's do it.
So to find out if fair hair is favored,
nice.
Adam and Jamie hit the bar.
So how is this speed dating thing supposed to work? Well, we'll have 9 women. Hello, angels. 3 blondes, 3 brunettes, and 3 redheads.
Hi, Jamie.
They'll be meeting 9 men round robin style, and the men will be rating them based on their attractiveness and likability.
And just like in real speed dating, their conversations with the women will last a limited amount of time. In our case, 3 minutes. Go.
This is awesome.
When the time is up, the bell will ring, and the men will get up and score their date.
After all 9 of our male test subjects have talked to all of the girls, we're going to send the guys home, bring in a new set of 9 guys. Howdy, guys. And conduct the test all over again.
In the interim, we will have changed the hair color of all the girls.
We're using really expensive natural hair wigs, and we've hired
Willette and KK, industry professionals specializing in wigs and makeup.
With their new wigs on, they will talk to our second set of male test subjects, and when they're done with them, we'll send them away and bring in a third set of men.
Again, changing the hair color of all the girls.
In that way, each of our actresses gets to perform this test as a redhead, a brunette, and a blonde.
How you doing?
How they're doing
Commence the hubbub
is just great. The guys are aware they're being filmed, but don't know the purpose of the test. And round 1
Oh my gosh! What happened?
He's showing the tattoo again. That's his move.
is clicking like clockwork.
It's an assembly line. A dating assembly line.
As to whether we see any difference in behavior relative to hair color, I don't think we're going to notice anything until we look at the data.
Yep, and with round 1 done, those numbers do in fact favor the flaxen-haired females. Their average attractiveness and repeat date scores are higher. But crucially, until the ladies swap shades and a comparison is made, this result is up in the hair.
Let's bring on the next slide.
Does the mighty dollar really make women hot under the collar?
That is a job of a man-child.
So far, the anecdotal evidence
I just think he's too old to have a retail job.
suggests yes.
We're about to start round 2. Now, we have changed some of the jobs of some of our men. Do I think this is gonna have an effect? Yes, absolutely. I think money definitely changes how women are attracted to men.
Now, given what we saw in round 1, which was some very lively commentary and an average score of 56 out of a possible 120, you guys ready for this? I feel like we might see a significant increase when we change the jobs to be more lucrative.
Carrie introduces the same 12 guys to an all-new female audience. But this time, 6 of them
Introducing Scott. He's an investment banker from El Cerrito, California.
have been given more upscale hometowns.
This is Michael. He's a cardiologist from Mill Valley, California.
And fat cat paychecks. With the slide parade concluded, and while the scores are tallied, Carrie gathers some opinions.
All right, so with a show of hands, who based their opinion on how attractive these guys are solely on looks? Okay.
All right, now what about just purely money? Did that influence any of you? Wait, what did you say?
No, it doesn't matter because we work.
That's not so good for the myth. But as the crowd warms up,
Got great smile, his eyes giving you a contact. He says, come right here, I'm gonna have fun.
a few women indicate higher paid positions may make a difference.
You gave him a what?
An 8.
An 8. Why?
Because he's a cardiologist.
Enough said. Now, one thing that was interesting with this group is when we started asking them as a group in public, they all seemed to say money didn't matter.
All right, guys, thank you for coming out to our Laws of Attraction Mythbusters experiment.
It'll be interesting to see what their scores were when they were writing them down in private.
Only the cold, hard numbers will tell the real story.
So, we had 12 guys. We changed 6 of them to higher paying salaries, and that resulted in a plus 23% increase in their attractiveness score.
Confirmed.
It's confirmed. And in particular, Martin, our retail clerk turned vascular surgeon, plus 32%. And Ian, our mortgage broker turned venture capitalist, plus 76%.
You know what I really liked about this myth is that at first I was just like, ew, this is such an awful, shallow cliche. But then when you break it down, bigger breasts represent fertility. Men are attracted to that. Wealth is just an indicator of being a good provider, like a lioness will pick the biggest, strongest lion, the leader of the pride. There's a reason for the cliche. It's biology.
Confirmed, both of them. The myths. Whoa.
The team is having a Freudian field day.
We're hunting for boobs.
With the science of sexual attraction.
So, how you doing?
And to find out if blondes really do get the guys.
It's all under our control. Let's see what they're saying.
Adam and Jamie have commenced round 2 of a speed date round robin.
What did you major in?
English.
What's your major? Classic.
Will the girls that have now switched to bubbly blonde be rated more attractive?
Scientifically, is there a reason for men to prefer blondes? Well, during the last ice age, a blonde hair genetic mutation occurred, and because it's a recessive gene, sexual selection must have played a part in its propagation.
Way to go.
The question is that selective bias still with us today?
There's only one way to find out.
Here we go.
It's the third and final round.
They're all talking about working out.
With the final follicular transformation complete.
I love being able to dip in and out of these conversations. This is totally addictive.
But naked and everything.
A comprehensive numerical comparison.
It's clear I would love working security at a casino.
You took a 7-hour bus ride to get here?
Is now etched in Excel.
Are the results in?
The results are in.
What'd we get?
In our Gentlemen Prefer Blondes testing, this was the result of what we got.
What's that? This is TV. I can't read all that.
That's all right, because I've been able to boil all this down to a simple phrase.
It's a tie.
It's a tie. Across all of our tests, we could not find a spike of a preference for any of the specific hair colors.
Which is what we would expect if hair color was not a factor.
Exactly. The myth is busted. Gentlemen do not prefer blondes.
So, the team put the sex into science. And when it comes to attraction, there may be biological laws.
It's like their monkey brains taking over.
But beauty is most definitely in the eye of the beholder.
How you doing?